JJ, Boston averages about 118 per game. Tonight you hold them under 100. What did you see defensively consistently throughout the evening?
I thought that was one of, if not our best games in terms of executing our defensive game plan, not overreacting to Porzingis making a few turnaround jumpers. Like, again, like I said pregame, you have to be willing to live with stuff. Because of the way we wanted to guard them, it also required a lot on ball in terms of staying in front and forcing off the dribble jumpers. And it required a lot from our shifts, and it required a lot from our low man to stay out of the blender. And, we started the game in some whites, some fronting in the post. We went away from that because twice they got us scrambling. And, outside of those couple plays early, I thought, we were just in front of the ball and made them score over the top of us. And that was what we wanted to do. And, it's a credit to my staff for sure as we talked through things over the last 24 hours. And it's a credit to our guys for executing at a high level.
It was apparent the decisiveness, the aggressiveness that your guys were playing with on offense. Is that an example of the connectivity, the connectedness that you've been talking to us about? Like, what are the signs that you look for that show you're playing connected and getting this type of result?
You can certainly look at potential assists. That's one way. I think for us, on the offensive end, we talk all the time about a we score mentality. We emphasize certain things over and over. And some of that stuff has nothing to do with putting the ball in the basket. It's our running patterns. It's our spacing and being patient in our spacing. It's our screening, and when you screen and you roll, or you screen and you slip, or you screen and you ghost, it's not necessarily for you to get a shot. It's to start something else. And that requires a lot of sacrifice. And I think when we've been at our best offensively, that's how we look. It is not about my shot, your shot. It's about let's create a good shot for us. And there's a balance there for sure, because you use the word aggressiveness, and you do have to have that individual aggressiveness, but you also have to be willing to do all the other stuff to make sure your teammate has the right spacing, or you're creating an advantage for an on-ball player, or creating an advantage for an off-ball player. But we were great offensively in the first half, and honestly got stalled out a little bit in the third quarter. I didn't like the way we started the third. Just in terms of our pace within the half court. It was just very slow, but because our defense still defended at a high level, we were able to, maintain that cushion that we had.
JJ, when I asked you yesterday about, or a couple days ago, I forget whenever it was, about the trade deadline, you had said kind of part of the evaluation is like figuring out what this team is now. What does a performance like that against an opponent like that say about a team's ceiling? Does it adjust it as you guys evaluate?
We're worried about ourselves, and we're looking for consistency.
This group, along those lines, in terms of consistency, you mentioned that third quarter. There have been times when you guys have stalled out, and kind of a problem sort of breaks a lot of stuff. Did you see a different level of resolve tonight?
I did. It was a lot of it was on the defensive end, and it wasn't like we didn't generate any good looks. It's more about that process where we were 11 for 20 in the first half on threes. If we were 6 for 20, I would have loved the process. I would have loved how we played. So it's about sort of returning to that. And even the group that came in at the end, the last few minutes, I loved the way they played. I thought our bench overall was awesome. Doe shot 2 awful threes. They were good shots, but just awful threes. It looked like he'd never touched a basketball before. But defensively and on the glass, he was awesome. His talk. I mean, he really lifts the team on that end so much. And DK, with his run in the first half, sort of extended our lead. Gabe was awesome all night. Jackson, in every stint he went in, was fantastic. So, those four guys, and then the guys that finished the game as well. Just high-level stuff from our bench tonight.
It was before the Clipper game. You talked about having a discussion about raising the standard every game. How much can this game be about establishing a standard, I guess, to raise off of going forward?
Yeah, it certainly can be. Those guys, they know who Boston is. They're the world champions, and they can go on a flurry and beat you in a number of ways. It's terrifying. It's terrifying as a coach, to try to figure that out. And I think our guys understand that. They understand the respect you have to have for that type of opponent. And as much as this game could be about reinforcing and establishing those standards that we've tried to as a group for 42 games, hopefully there's some reinforcement, maybe some establishment, but some belief that gets reinforced here about what we can be and how good we can be.
JJ, yesterday there was a report stating that LeBron and AD want you guys to make a trade, and I feel like you guys are one or two pieces away. And then before the game, there was another report that AD on the record said that he feels like you guys need another center, and that he feels like he's played his best basketball at the 4. In terms of the dialogue with the trade deadline, have you guys had discussions about that, and do you have a reaction to either of those reports?
No reaction. I mean, the reality is that's not a new report. I got the job 6 months ago, so I know that. I followed this team since I retired. Just put a date next to it. That's the report. It's not a big deal. Those guys want to win. We want to win. And again, it's a challenging environment to just go out and make trades. Feel very fortunate that we were able to execute and get someone like Dorian Finney-Smith on our team, and we'll continue to look over the next couple weeks.
JJ, I think in pregame you mentioned this really wasn't a measuring stick game. What is it that you want to take out of this game to this 6-game road trip?
Just reinforcing those standards, reinforcing our identities. When we do those things at a high level, we can beat anybody in the league. I mean, that's, again, I feel like the group knows that and feels that, but the resolve to do that every night, regardless of shots going in, shots not going in, regardless of an opponent getting hot, like, you have to have that resolve in game every single night, and that's, to me, as much of our standard that we're trying to reach. That's what great teams do, and that's what we're trying to reach.
Hey, Coach, as a player, you've been a part of this Grammy trip before. What does it take to have success on a trip this long, and be able to come back, with a certain level of success?
You have to play well on the road, regardless of the opponent. And we've got a couple games against teams that are below 500. We've got some games against some really good teams. You have to play at a high level every night on the road to win.
Thanks, Coach.